Hey YouTube, what's happening? Chris here. Want to bring you all an update on that EOS breakout that we were looking at. Been following it for a while now, and I just want to follow up with it. And guys, what we're also going to do today, we're going to be looking at this symmetrical triangle, and I'm going to dig into my Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns by Thomas N. Bukowski, and I'm going to give you some percentages and see how we actually matched up in terms of the book, what they say about symmetrical triangles and the percentages and what actually happened here. And these things, guys, if we can start identifying this stuff, take a look at this move. Remember when I was saying, hey, you know what, a break's coming either to the upside or the downside, and the reason I knew that was because the volume was really tapering off and the candles were getting really small, so there was not a lot more room to go in the apex of this triangle, and we were either going to break to that upside or we were going to break to that downside, and we ended up breaking to that upside. And what happened was we broke all the way through there, and it happened on good volume, and that's key. And we ended up running up about 17.63%. So think about that, guys. If you're sitting here anticipating, saying, all right, I'm waiting for the break. So this day we broke above, we closed above. Even if you waited till the next day right here and we had another nice close on that good volume, you could have got in here and then ridden that up. And once you start seeing all these profit taking wicks right there, that would have been a good time to pull out and say, all right, I'm going to see if there's a throwback coming, which ended up happening. And our sign was we had a top over here and also these three wicks. Those are very powerful. That's traders, that's day traders, swing trade, all of them taking some profit right in here, guys. And you really need to pay attention to that. So basically what it starts with taking profit are the scalpers who are just get in, get out real quick. Then there'll be the day traders, and then you'll have more of the short-term traders. And then you could have those swing traders who'll see a top here and think maybe this is a double top and they're pulling out right there. So that could happen. And that's why you have those wicks and that rejection to the downside that we're seeing. But in this book now, we're going to actually judge this and see how well this performed in terms of what the book says on performance. So I'm going to give you guys a little insight here. And if you all could, if you enjoy what we do here, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Trying for 100 likes on this video. You guys been doing awesome for me, and we'll just keep them coming the best that we can. So in the book it says symmetrical triangles, the appearance, price forms lower highs and higher lows following two sloping trend lines that eventually intersect, and that's what we dealt with right there. And then it says this is an upward breakout, the breakout is upward. And now what we're looking for here, the average rise out of this. So once you have your breakout, the average is 26%. We got 17.63%. And then it says the volume trend is downward as that's taking place. So we're having that downward volume right now. We're having that sell off. And it also says throwbacks happen 37% of the time. And that's what we're seeing right now, as opposed to just breaking out and continuously running a little bit more. We're having that throwback or that pullback. And when you have these, a lot of times, guys, we'll see if we can find support off this 20. And if not, a lot of times it can actually come back test this before you move further. That's an option. Another option is that this was the whole move and we're actually going to continue to drop down through, because you can have these breakouts and then you can fall through. That's another thing this book talks about. Or you can just blast straight up out of there and that's it. It's on high volume, and we probably would have had another day or two of serious volume, maybe that looks something like this on the back side there. And then it says in this book, it says tall or narrow patterns perform better than any other combinations. Now, the characteristics of this symmetrical triangle, in my opinion, from what I'm reading here, this is a tough one to qualify as a symmetrical triangle. Probably be a little bit more of just that trend line break on the top, which we really like to look for trend line breaks, guys. They're very powerful. And the only reason I wouldn't say this isn't the best symmetrical triangle is because there's some white space that's in here. Typically you want your price bouncing up top here and then coming back down and really working in between here. There's that white space. We had our first touch, we had our second touch, then we had another couple quick ones in here before we had the breakout, and we really got deep into the apex of this triangle right there. So that's where I'd say, with this white space, it's tough to say if this is a trend line break or if this is a symmetrical triangle break, but it's close enough, and that's why I said I'm going to do this as a symmetrical triangle for you guys. And we're going to get into this now. It says identification characteristics. The shape, a triangle shape forms within the confines of two trend lines, one sloping up and the other sloping down so that they intersect at the triangle apex. The trend lines need not be the same length. Touches. There should be at least two distinct minor highs and two minor lows that touch the trend lines. In other words, at least 4 trend reversals. Volume usually recedes throughout the formation but can be irregular and is often very low just before the breakout. So do you see how that volume was tailing off, guys? And I was telling you about those real small candles. That's when you're looking for that break. And throw a Bollinger Band on there and it'll tell you how tight you're getting. And then it says white space. Price should cross the pattern covering much of the white space. And that's where we still got a little bit there. A little bit too much in my opinion. Breakout direction, unknown ahead of time. Occurs when price closes outside the trend line boundary. So that's why with symmetrical triangles, you have to wait for that break, guys. Otherwise, you're just guessing 50-50. Do I think it's going to go up? Do I think it's going to go down? Now, typically, they'll follow the trend more. This trend has been up, this intermediate term trend, and we actually did get that break to the upside. So you can put that a little bit more in your favor, but you also have to consider the macro trend of Bitcoin, and we still have not put in that higher high yet. So that's something that you want to pay close attention to. And then the duration. Typically longer than 3 weeks at a minimum. Formations 3 weeks or less are classified as a pennant. So this here, now reading that, actually most likely would kind of fall in between that pennant to that symmetrical triangle. So 3 weeks. Let's see how many days we had here, guys. Let me count real quick. So roughly, just a quick count, like 22, 23. So yeah, it's pretty close to that 3 mark. It would be a very young symmetrical triangle if it's not a pennant. Let's put it that way. All right? And remember that. So duration, typically longer than 3 weeks at a minimum. Formations 3 weeks or less classify as a pennant. And as I go through this book, guys, you'll see all these different throwbacks about how, you know, you'll have these breakouts and then it'll actually come back and then guys will get back in again for that next leg up. And that's what they're looking for. So I really suggest you guys continue to do your reading, do your due diligence, and I want to share as much as I can out of this encyclopedia chart patterns with you. I think it's something very special, and the people who are still here, still listening, still learning, it can be life-changing, because it's been life-changing for me learning this type of stuff that I had no idea of before, and I got into this, and guys, there's 1,000 pages. I mean, you could read this over and over and over, and you'll probably never scratch the depths of it, you know. And that's just how much information is put into that. So really keep that in mind, guys. And then we're just going to step back real quick, and we're just going to look at some overhead resistance spots if we do have another leg up. So we had this here. If we find some support here, the next leg up, we obviously have to get over this area here, and then we would be looking right up here. We pull that. So guys, we would be looking at a spot. A serious spot would be right around in here, and I'm going to go off the real bodies there. So that'd be around that 0.0012060 range. All right. And you know what? There's something I'm also looking at for EOS that I want you to be aware of, is we're getting that golden cross that's taking place, that 100 moving average over the 200-day moving average. We're still up above the 20 EMA, which we've been respecting as support, and we're up above that 50 moving average as well. So you want to be cautious and patient here, because sometimes these here, they can turn into those little bull flags to where it'll fall, and then all of a sudden it'll spike back up and it'll make a nice little run, or we could just fall down, guys. And that's just the case of it. And that's why what you try to do is put the odds in your favor. No one's going to know till it happens. I didn't know here that it was going to break to the upside. I knew it was going to break to the upside or the downside, and I put myself in the position where I said, okay, if it breaks to the upside, I'm going to get in right along. If it breaks to the downside, I'm going to short it. And it broke to the upside. And that's the name of the game, guys. That's how you do it. So, you know, just keep all this stuff in mind, and just realize that these market makers can come in and put a stick of volume like this here or this here anytime they want. You can be sleeping, and some dude in Japan has his millions of dollars and he throws it in, and it can change the entire market very fast because our order books are so thin. So those are things I'm looking at. I'm just being patient, guys. We got that double top up here, so we're just going to have to see what happens with this. If we're just going to continue to fall down, have rejection like a double top, or if that's going to turn to some type of almost bull flag where we get a nice little run up here. So if you like what we do here, guys, you got a little something out of it, just leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. God bless each and every one of you. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. And remember, guys, continue to grind, continue to work. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do what you want to do. If you have dreams, go after it. Chase them. God bless you.